is Kentucky Hot Brown Boys.
Penis! Sorry, we were playing the penis game earlier, and I just felt the need to just really drive it home that I won. Mm-hmm. So, welcome everybody to this week's edition of the Kentucky Hot Brown Boys. I'm your host, Jerry Saylor. In the studio with me, as always, we have the lovely and talented Stevie Williams, everybody. Looking, I don't know if we talked about this on the show last time. I think we talked about it after the show or before the show. When you wear the glasses like that, you look strangely like one of my ex-girlfriends.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you purposely wear the glasses?
No, I'm just lazy.
Oh, okay. Well, good to know.
And sometimes I don't feel like seeing, so I just don't.
Fair enough.
How many fingers am I holding up?
You don't have fingers.
Also in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. I was trying to think of something really catchy, but I just kind of had like a brain fart. I don't say like world renowned or, highly anticipated, something like that. Anybody?
This
Tammy's
bitch
daughter.
Transed her gender.
Yeah, there you go. The lovely Eden, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Now, Eden.
Hi.
I know how much you love pickles.
I do like pickles.
Like, literally, I hear you talk about pickles every week when we sit down and do the show.
You also know I'm very particular about my pickles.
I do know you're very particular.
Yeah.
And what would you say is like your favorite brand of pickles?
It's a very specific brand and like jar because they're all different. It's
Okay.
the Mount Olive pickles, but like the big jar. Like the big jar.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is Mount Olive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Eden, what if I told you that I got you a lifetime supply of the big jar Mount Olive pickles?
I wouldn't believe you.
Good, because you shouldn't. But I did get you a small jar of kosher dills. I hope you like kosher dills.
I'm going to eat pickles for the rest of the show. Stevie, you want a pickle?
You can totally
you
eat all the
famously
pickles you
loves
want.
pickles.
Just do not drip pickle juice on the table. There you go. You can eat all the pickles you want. Those are yours to eat. You can do whatever you want with them. Now, this is just great. This is quality entertainment here. No. Hold on. You got to keep trying. We got to see how long it takes you to open this jar of pickles. Oh, you got it.
Good job.
Did take longer than I thought, but not as long, I don't guess. Do you need a napkin or a paper towel?
No.
Do you want a
Are you
notebook?
sure? Let me get you a. Just stare into that camera as you eat that pickle. For all of our fans on Pornhub who are watching live this week. And let me get you a paper towel.
Is that how you're supposed to do it?
No, you're supposed to go.
I hope for your next interview, this is the one they find of you.
All right. So.
I hope this comes up when I become a teacher. I hope all of my classes find this.
They probably will, because that's how the world works now. You can't do anything without somebody finding it anymore. Please don't choke, because I know the Heimlich, but I really, would prefer to not have to do the Heimlich.
I know the self-Heimlich. I'm okay.
Okay.
No, I think that should be the clickbait. Like, Jerry saves a life, question mark, apostrophe.
That's a good one.
Okay, I'll choke on as many pickle dicks as I can.
Okay, fair enough. As much as I knew she loved pickles, I never thought she would sit here and just orally fixate on eating a pickle like that. Like, who eats a fucking pickle like that?
I do.
Just take a bite and chew it up and swallow it.
That's how she does it at home, too.
Really? Does
Yeah.
she stare at you when she does it?
She usually stares, blankly into the distance while she does it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen anybody eat a pickle like that. I mean,
You
just...
mean the right way?
No, I don't think that's really the right way. I mean, it's like you're trying to suck the life force out of this poor pickle.
Yeah, she saw that episode of Pickle Rick and she just went ape shit.
I believe it. I believe it.
I was like, what the fuck? Why would they ruin a perfectly good pickle?
I don't know. Would you have eaten pickle, Rick? Why not? He's a pickle.
He was in a sewer.
And that,
You wash it off, Eden.
yeah.
A little bit of fucking.
He was attacked by rats.
So,
We've all been attacked by rats
Yeah,
at some point or another.
everybody's been attacked by something. You know.
Speaking of attacks, weren't you attacked by your manager at Chipotle?
That is true.
Yeah.
My manager at Chipotle is a dick.
We
Although they are now my ex-manager because I regrettably had to leave that job.
I'll say it's been 2 weeks. And a lot of stuff has went down. I know when I had messaged you and asked you how the new gig was going, you were like, "Oh, a lot went down. Tell you about it later."
Yeah.
Is it something you want to talk about on the show, or?
Eden can talk about her thing on the show.
Okay, fair enough. So Eden, if you can, talk around the pickle there.
So, what happened? This is the Chipotle on Mall Road, just so people know, and I no longer work there because of this. Sorry, I'm eating a pickle. I don't know if anyone could tell.
I'm sure everybody could probably tell.
But basically what happened is I had a coworker who will remain nameless, but he's also the only black guy working there, so if you ever find him out, then it's pretty easy. And I got 2 other coworkers. One was my manager, and the other was a new hire that I hadn't met because I was on sick leave for 2 weeks because I had a really bad migraine, and so they put me on sick leave for 2 fucking weeks for a migraine, but they paid me for it, so it was okay. First day back, it was a couple days ago. And my new coworker who I'd never met, and my manager just started saying the N-word to my other coworker who's like a good friend of mine. And they started like whispering about him and shit.
Now, hold on. Did you just say that the new coworker that you didn't know?
No.
Oh, and then,
Devon was a friend. Ah, fuck, I said his name. Devon.
okay. So it wasn't the new guy. It was the old coworker.
Yeah, so
Okay, gotcha. So I was like,
just so they all remain nameless, and I'm changing their names. Devon, who is definitely not his real name, and the new person's name was Devin, and the manager's name was Jess, and this is definitely their names are changed. But they started
so there's
to...
so there's a Devin and a Davon.
Devon's a black guy.
Okay.
Devin is a white girl,
Okay.
and Jess is a white manager.
Manager is a gender now.
He's a man, a juror.
And well, Jess is a girl. And Jess started calling him the N-word, and so did Devin. And Devon...
So they both like ganged up on him? Mm-hmm. And why were they calling him the N-word?
I don't know. They were just whispering about him, and they were like listening to some rap that morning. And Devon ended up just like telling them to stop. And when they wouldn't listen, they ended up getting into his face and swearing at him.
Were they talking about him, like whispering back and forth about him?
Yes.
Did you hear what they were whispering about?
I didn't hear very much of it, but I did hear the N-word every like now and then. I heard it.
Okay.
And like just little fragments. And I mean, when there's only one black guy in the store, you can kind of assume who they're talking about.
Right. But if there wasn't...
And they always like looked to him when they were talking too, you know?
If there wasn't a black guy in the store, would you know who they were talking about?
There's only one black guy that works there.
But if he wasn't there...
No, I probably wouldn't have, but I mean...
Would it have been as big of a deal if he wasn't there?
Yeah, because they were saying the N-word. They shouldn't be saying that.
True.
Nobody should be saying that.
Because they're white.
No, I don't think anyone should say it personally.
Not even black people?
I wouldn't say so, just because I don't think it's a word that... I think it's one of those words that should leave history. And it should only be in, like, Mark Twain and other books like that. Like
It
Mark
should leave
Twain,
history,
Frederick
but
Douglass.
it should be in books.
Yeah.
Does
It should leave the modern vernacular.
Okay.
But
it's definitely dated.
yeah, it's dated.
Yeah.
But they started saying shit to him, and when he told them to stop, he said, "Hey guys, please stop saying that word and stop talking about me."
Right.
And they started going off on him, and he said it in a really nice way. He said, "Hey, I can hear what you guys are saying. I'm trying to ignore it. I put my headphones in, but now work has started, and I can't just ignore it. I can hear y'all talking about me. Please stop. Please stop saying that word."
What did you hear them say specifically that you knew it was about him? Just the N-word?
They were saying the N-word, and they kept looking to him, and they were talking about how someone wasn't that good of a worker.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, when I started hearing the word, like, I gave them dirty looks.
Right.
And I sort of just tried to ignore it because that's what Devon was doing.
Right.
And I didn't want to start a scene, 'cause
Devon, which
it's
is not
my
his real
personality.
name.
No, it's not his real name, except it might be because I forgot that I wasn't going to say their names.
Okay.
But
it's definitely not.
definitely not. And he told them to stop. And he was very polite about it. And then Devin just started fucking screaming that he needed to get a better attitude and shit. And they start calling him a cunt and a bitch and shit like that. And Devon, he never like swore at all that entire thing.
I think I'd rather somebody call me the N-word as opposed to a cunt.
Yeah.
You know, unless it was Jim Jeffries, and Jim Jeffries can call me a cunt all he wants.
And this was in
He
front of
just sounds
customers.
sexy when he says it.
This was in front of customers that they started doing all this. And
So they were using the N-word in front of customers too.
Yeah. And Devon told them to stop. And as they started yelling at him, he started raising his voice, but he never got as loud as they did.
Right.
And Jess and Devin both ended up going outside, and that was the end of it. Devon ended up leaving early that day. And when he left, I ended up leaving a few minutes after him.
And you just left out of pure disgust.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure I left after him so they wouldn't force him to stay. And I knew they weren't going to force me to stay because I was just going to fucking go anyway.
Right.
And I called HR that day, and there's a ticket filed, but they haven't gotten back to me. So I'm assuming this is just getting buried under the rug. I ended up texting my manager that day and telling him about a lot that happened too, like my general manager. He has not gotten back to me at all.
So that wasn't the manager.
Just as like a manager, and then there's the general manager above him, above her.
Got you.
And he hasn't really gotten back to me.
So these were two like catty females going after him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they kept like whispering and talking and working right next to each other and just kept looking up at him. And then when I was leaving, what really got me was Jess ended up saying, because I said, hey, I really got to leave. What happened this morning is making me uncomfortable, and I want to go home and talk to my girlfriend and call HR. And then Jess said, yeah, what Devon did was really out of line, right? And I just fucking lost it. I ended up, like, I raised my voice, which I know I shouldn't have done. I was like, no, how fucking dare you? I didn't say fucking. And
Why
I
not?
said, no, how dare you? I would not be on your side. Like, they were saying the N-word.
Right.
You know, and like it's fucked up. And then they both thought that I was on their side. And no. But
Like,
I did what I could. I called HR.
What about that whole situation would make them think that you were on their side?
I was white.
Okay.
Guarantee it was just because I was white.
Right.
And I just fucking left. And I told my manager that I didn't really feel comfortable working with either of them, and he just never got back to me on it. I said I wanted to talk to him. I wanted him to call me so I could tell him what happened. And he just never got back to me.
Why do you think that is?
Honestly,
You think he's racist as fuck too?
I'm not sure if he is or not.
Right.
But
He's the hiring manager, right? He hires and
yeah, he's
fires.
the general manager. He's the one that interviewed me.
If
I
he-
actually got there on his first day.
If he was racist, do you think he would have hired a black person to begin with?
I'm not sure if he's racist because I heard a story.
He could
about
be,
him.
because if
He could be.
he only hired one black person.
No, Karina was already working there, and she was black. I don't know any
Did
other black
she
people working
quit
there.
or get fired since then?
She took a leave of absence because they weren't paying her that well, and the general manager never did her interview to become a manager there when other managers were leaving.
Okay.
So I mean, there's evidence there, but he also never interviewed anyone. A lot of people actually quit because the general manager sucks ass.
That was that Wolf guy you were talking
Mm-hmm.
about before. Okay. I don't want to say his real name, but we'll just call him Wolf.
Yeah, Wolfgang.
Okay.
Wolfgang.
Yeah.
In quotations. But it sucks. If you ever eat at Chipotle, don't go to the one on Mall Road in Florence, Kentucky. Go to the one on Dream Street. It's like 5 minutes down the road. But
I like the one on Dream Street, honestly. That's the one I always go to.
it's better.
Yeah.
To
be honest, I don't think I've ever eaten at the one on Mall Road.
Never do it.
I don't think I ever have. Kind of thing, I think the only Chipotle I've ever eaten at is the one on Dream Street. So, I don't know. I would like to say that I'm very proud that you're not like jumping across the table right now at Stevie for eating one of your pickles.
Oh, I'm just surprised
Yeah.
Stevie did. Stevie doesn't like pickles.
I'm on a diet.
So everything looks appetizing is what you're saying. Yeah. Well, if I had known, I'd have got you a jar of pickles too, or
No,
a
thank
jar
you.
of whatever.
I would have
you
given
would've-
them to Eden.
Fair enough. Well, I'm just saying, I'd have got you a jar of.
You could have given me
whatever.
just a jar of fucking cheese, and I would have just stuck. My whole
Dude, can you
hand
get us a
in.
jar of
Okay.
cheese next time?
Maybe.
No.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, and some like chips.
I'll get that
Stop
big.
mooching food off people.
I'll get that
I'm
big,
hungry.
like, however big fucking coffee can size thing of like the melty nacho cheese stuff. You don't even have to melt it; like it's already like melted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's good shit. That's real good shit. Love
I got
that
someone
stuff.
offering to get us cheese, babe.
Cheese and pickles. It's not bad. It's not a bad gig.
No.
We'll
But-
see next time. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Listen, baby, you gotta stop mooching food off of people. Every single time anyone talks to us, she's like, "You want to go get food? You want to buy us food? You want to have food together?" And I'm like, "Stop, stop
Who
it."
else talks to us? And I suggest that.
Your mother.
Yeah, my mom's in another
And
state.
then whenever I go out with friends, you're like, "Ooh, are we going out to eat?"
Are we going? That's all we'd ever do when we go out with friends. Is
For
go
a
out to eat.
reason.
Well,
'Cause
what else would
someone's
you wanna
hungry.
do?
Listen, I love you.
I love you. What else is there to do other than get food?
Live life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jump off a bridge.
Fine. Let's go invite. What was her name? Madison. That we
We're
went out
not
to
saying
eat
my
with?
friend's names on this podcast.
Yeah.
M.
Anyway, so news stories. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super straight.
No,
Dr.
so,
Seuss.
hold on. So let's go back to the whole Chipotle being super racist now.
Or at least that location being racist. And the fact that
Oh, okay.
HR hasn't gotten back to me, that's another thing I find kind of weird. It's been like 3 days. Because I called them Wednesday.
Maybe it's just it's taking them a lot of time
It might
to
take them a
process
while.
everything. Do they have cameras that record video and audio and stuff?
I'm not sure if they record audio. I know they record video.
Maybe they're just going back watching the tapes, seeing what all
Maybe.
went down.
No, Mall Road, all the cameras on Mall Road don't work. Every single place I've worked at on Mall
The
Road,
ones on-
the cameras don't
The
work.
Chipotle ones work. I've
Do
been
they?
I've been in the office. I've watched the cameras before.
Okay.
Doesn't
Because
mean
when I did my
doesn't mean they
training-
record.
Yeah, it doesn't mean they record, but they're at least there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are at least functioning
Yeah, I've
as
seen
far
them.
as being able to see them live as it happens. So yeah, so they haven't called you back at all.
No. No one's called me back. No
Did
one's
you leave
emailed me.
I was gonna say, did you leave an email or a phone number? Or
I left my email and my phone number. The person I talked to said they'd probably email me or they'd shoot me a text. And
did you
neither
check your
has
spam
happened.
folder
I have.
and nothing?
I can check again, but Stevie has my phone.
2 pickles is 0 calories.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, it is. Pickles are good for you.
but they're high as fucking sodium, aren't they?
I don't see any sodium on this. I see 0%, some other number, and 0%.
310 milligrams of sodium.
Yeah, that's a
That's
lot.
not a real number.
No, that's 310. That is a real number. I've counted to it before, couple
To
times.
it right now.
I mean, I don't have that kind of time. 1, 2,
I
skip
have
a
the time.
few. 309, 310. There you go.
And what's the numbers you skipped?
Oh, like 100 or like 3 through like 308.
Yeah,
So-
what's the numbers in between those?
You know what? If you're not smart enough to know those numbers, then we're not gonna
I've
have this
only
conversation.
taken up through Calc 2. I don't really know how numbers work. I know
Okay.
how X works. I can tell you what X is.
What is X?
It's a number.
X is gonna give it to you. Do you know that?
My ex isn't giving me shit.
You have an X?
It's weird. I thought that for a second too. I was like, you have an X? And I was like, no, I
Nah.
don't know.
Just a couple Y's and nosies.
Yeah.
Anyway, Stevie bought me a ring.
No shit.
Yeah.
Like an engagement type ring, or just
I
like a
mean,
ring?
It's a pagan ring.
But is it like an engagement ring? Is it a promise ring? Did you like get down on one knee?
No,
No.
I plan on giving her my great grandmother's engagement ring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I don't think my
Nice.
family's too happy about.
well, there's always somebody that's not gonna be
As
happy
long as we
with
don't get
something.
divorced, it should be fine, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have the money to divorce me, so.
Thanks.
But she could go pawn that ring and get some money.
Yeah, well, actually, Stevie's going to end up getting my grandmother's ring.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah,
So
my
it's a-
mom's
it's a fair
mailing it or
trade.
something.
Oh, nice.
And it's like some diamond ring or something.
Who's gonna propose to who?
We're
I think we're
gonna
both
propose
proposing,
at
but we're doing
different
it at
times.
different times. You know how like
But who's gonna go first?
Me.
Stevie.
Okay.
But you know how in Japan the girl gives a guy chocolates and then a month later the guy ends up giving the girl chocolates to
If
show
he
that
likes
he
her.
likes her.
If he likes her.
I did not know that.
Yeah, well
it's
now
called
you do.
White Day.
Yeah.
White Day?
Yeah, it's
That's
also
racist
racist.
as fuck.
But that's
Why does
kind
it-
of like how we're
Why
doing
does
it.
it
I
have to be
think.
White Day?
White Day.
White.
Is that how you say white?
Yeah,
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
that's how I say it.
How do
Okay.
you say it?
Well, I mean, is that how you say it in like Japanese?
Probably.
You know how to say white?
I've
in
only
Japanese?
ever like read it. I've never heard my teacher say it.
Oh.
So I'm sure it's like white.
White.
But it sounds pretty much like
White.
English
White.
white. Pretty much.
D. Hi.
It's pretty much the same, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
though.
Hi.
It's in
Essentially.
katakana, so it's yeah.
I know.
Are
I've been
any other
learning-
colors like that?
Well, it's white is actually Shiro, but it's called White Day and like supposed to be the English kind of version. So that's why I don't know the
Yeah.
history or lore of White Day, but
Okay.
it's in katakana, which means they took it from the English word of white.
White Day just sounds like, some Klansmen getting together and being like, God damn it, I'm sick of Black History Month. We're having fucking White Day, damn it.
That or
And then they grill a pig and drink a bunch of beers and, fuck their sisters or something. I don't know.
It is Kentucky.
Yeah. That's
Have
true.
you been a member of one of these events?
I thought you were
know
going to
a
ask me if I've
shocking
ever
amount
fucked my
about it.
sister. I was going to say no, never have. But thanks for.
You have a sister?
I have 3 sisters.
What are they like?
Do you know how I am?
Yeah.
They're like the exact opposite of that.
Not
so
bearded.
graceful, elegant.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well spoken, charitable.
Longer hair.
Sometimes, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
non-existent eyebrows.
You're saying I have big eyebrows?
No, you just have
The
very
fuck you trying to say, man?
Non-red
I'm wearing
noses.
fucking glasses. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, they're.
No tattoos.
Oh no, they do.
Oh well, then
Some
they're
of
the
them do.
exact
I was
opposite,
seriously
are they?
just imagining like 3 Vikings.
No, they're nothing like me.
Mm.
No, I mean you could probably look at us and be like, oh yeah, I can kind of see how you guys are related, but
When I was in high school,
Definitely.
someone said, "Oh my God, you and your brother look exactly the same," and
I've
I was
seen your
like,
brother.
"How fucking dare you?"
that's
I've seen
that's-
your brother,
that's
and I
rude.
can say that he has a beard,
Yes, he does.
and I don't think you have a beard.
No,
So I
That's
don't
what
think
you
you
are,
look the
babe.
same.
you're my beard.
Eat another pickle and pretend that nobody said anything.
So yeah, so the whole Dr. Seuss thing, people are like, okay, first let me start out by saying I couldn't tell you what the fucking books were that they said they were going to stop printing. Dr. Seuss came out, or the foundation or whatever, whoever owns the rights to all the books, they came out and they were like, yeah, we're going to stop making 4 books because they, in the 4 books, they have, instances of things that are racist.
I remember one of them. One of them was something about a zoo.
Yeah, like if I ran the zoo or something.
Yeah,
like that.
and I can see how that one was racist. I don't know. I don't remember.
What was the instance in that one?
I'm pretty sure one of them had like caricatures of different races. in
Yeah,
the
I know
zoo.
there was like one that was like showed like Asian people, and then another one that showed like African people with like I don't know, they looked like African people from Africa and shit. And it's like, okay, I can see how you don't want like kids to see these caricatures in these books and think, okay, this is how all African or all Asian people are. But it's like you got to think when these things were written, like you said about whatever the fuck you said, like Huck Finn and books and shit like that.
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain, there you go. Yeah, like I just don't get it. Like I understand, like
I feel
okay,
that- well,
like
I feel
like
that
as
context-
like a mega corporation or something that's beloved by a lot of people, I can see him not wanting to put that out. But instead of making a big fucking hoopla about it, just kind of quietly do it.
Yeah, I don't think
Because
it
they
really
know
mattered.
people. They should have known that as soon as people heard something about it, that people are going to have a fucking opinion about it. And people can't have a fucking opinion about this. I mean, they can, but they don't deserve to because it's none of their fucking business.
Who actually read some of these books? Like out of the 3 of us here,
I
and we
could-
all had different childhoods. None of us personally had heard of these books, and
No,
I
like
read
I've
Dr.
heard
Seuss.
of the If I Ran the Zoo or whatever. I've heard of that one. I've never read it, but
It's the type of book too that everyone knew was racist, so no libraries I don't think were really carrying it. I never saw it in any of my school libraries, like in my
Yeah,
teachers ones or like the
it's
regular
like-
ones. And they had Dr. Seuss books. I read all of them.
it's like, why make such a big stink about these books when they're not even like the popular books? that are being read.
Now, if it was Green Eggs and Ham or The Cat in a Hat,
Yeah, something like
that's
that,
a fucking
yeah.
Dr. Seuss book everyone fucking knows.
Yeah, like
But, like,
when
it
you say
wasn't.
Dr. Seuss, that's what you think of. You think of the Cat in the Hat, you think of fucking Green Eggs and Ham. Or, Horton Hears a Who, or,
Lorax.
the Lorax, yeah, that too.
Love Lorax. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was good.
I like
my
my favorite
movie.
Dr.
Yeah.
Seuss one is the toast one about the Cold War. Like, which side do you butter your toast on?
I don't think I ever read that one.
It was really nice. It was like a dude walking with a big stick, and then the other side got a slingshot, and then he got a bigger slingshot, and it was just like about how both sides were getting bigger and bigger weapons, and it ends
Right.
with both of them holding like a pellet that was like a nuke, and then they were just like about to drop it in each one.
And that's
all it
actually
was.
a children's book.
Yeah, it was a story about the Cold War. Children's book.
Now, see, shit like that, I think, is more, damaging to a child. A book about war than
Yeah, it matters.
a depiction of, African person from fucking hundreds of years ago, or a fucking Asian person from fucking hundreds of years ago, or whatever.
I do think context matters with all this. Like when you mentioned Mark Twain. Mark Twain did it different. And then Seuss, I feel that Seuss meant it in a more derogatory way, while Twain is doing more of like a slice of life type thing.
Yeah.
Where
I can totally relate to that. Like, I think if you're talking about, real life and how things are, then, you can't really say there's racism in that. In how can I say it here? You're not providing the racism. I mean, unless you're talking about, the slice of life from your life where
yeah,
it was a story about you being racist,
yeah, like sometimes
but-
people can still do things, and it depends on the context. Like I watch one of the comedians I watch on YouTube. It's RDC World, and they're just a group of black people, and they did this one series like if black people were in horror movies,
Yeah.
and it was funny. If like a white group did it, it would probably be called racist.
Yeah, see,
But
but that's the thing. There's the whole double standard. Like, you can't. There's a double standard on everything, because if you pick a side, then somebody's just going to flip it around and try to turn it on you, and it's not going to work.
I feel that as white people, we probably don't have a right to say most of this shit. Just because we've never really experienced racism. The closest that I think the three of us are is probably someone trying to stab me because I'm trans. But even then, it's different. Everything's different.
It's different because it's not race related. It's sexual orientation related.
And racism is, I feel, more prevalent than sexual discrimination. I feel so. And also, like, trans people, not every trans person's obviously trans. Like, my voice gives me away, personally. That's what I think. But when I'm just passing someone on the street, and if I'm in, like, full makeup, wearing a dress, no one's going to know I'm trans. And
How come you never show up here in full makeup?
It's
Trying not
like
to.
over
Are you
8
trying to,
o'clock.
like, not impress me?
It's like 8 o'clock. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just like wear makeup all day, and then you're like, oh, gotta go to Jerry's.
She's
Gotta take
scared
this.
to use
take this shit.
eyeliner.
Why?
She doesn't want to poke her eyes out.
So be careful.
And she refuses to learn how to do her own makeup, so she always wants me to do it. But I don't want to do her makeup before the show because I don't know how to do other people's makeup.
Right.
If I do it, she's going to look like fucking Bobo the Clown.
I know how to do a lot of
Which
my own makeup.
That would be
I just-
great. You should do that.
I
She
know
did
how.
my makeup once, and she sent it to her mother, and her mother saved it on her phone, even though I looked like shit.
And it was horrible, huh?
I know
It
how
was,
to
but I looked
do.
good because face.
Yeah.
I know how to do some parts of my own makeup. It's just
Right.
the fact that everything I know how to do is stuff that we don't fucking own. Like I know how to put on foundation, but we don't have foundation.
Oh,
and
you do?
no, it's not my skin tone.
Hmm.
And I know
It's not paper towel white.
Yeah, it's not. It's not this shade of white.
I think
More of a
as white
peach.
people sharing our opinion on the internet, what would look better for us and lead to a better discussion would be to maybe invite someone of color who actually knows what they're talking about instead of just sharing our opinions blatantly.
Let's
without-
call Devon.
I see what you're saying.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, I've never really experienced racism. Nobody's ever been, like, racist towards me.
Right.
But, I mean, well, I can't really say that. Because, I mean, there have been times, walking through certain parts of Cincinnati, you get a little feeling that you're kind of being followed or whatever.
Mhm.
And you can look over your shoulder and, you see a group of black guys following behind you. then
And then one's taking off his shirt.
well, no, then they
The other one's like
they-
starting to jacket, and you're like, I'm getting kind of into this. And you
Yeah.
start walking towards them, get on your
Yeah.
knees, and then, I mean, it's just a party.
But I mean, like, like I've been called like, "Hey, white boy," by black people, and that could be conceived as racist in some circles. I really don't see it as being racist. Could have, in that situation that I was talking about, do I think I was being targeted because of the color of my skin? Absolutely, absolutely. If I'd been another black man just walking down the street, they probably wouldn't have, followed me or said anything bad. But because I was a white boy, walking down Cincinnati.
I think it all depends on
know.
context for a lot of things. I feel that there's...
But see, if you're going to say it depends on context, then it has to go both ways.
It does go both ways, actually. I was
Yeah.
about to say. One of my friends growing up, his name was Devin,
Right.
which fucking weirdly, so many people that I've mentioned today are Devin or Devon. He was a nice guy. He was a black guy, and he was bi or gay. He always switch-swapped.
Right.
And he was a cool guy. But I think it was him who told me that, like, a lot of black people are racist towards white people, too. I mean, it's a thing. Everyone has those preconceived notions. What matters in society is tearing them down.
Right.
And just being
I
more...
want to be sexist towards men.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
cool with
that's... Sexism is
Yeah.
different than racism. Racist...
It's still an ism, though.
It is an
Yeah.
ism, but sexism towards men is okay.
No.
And
And-
racism towards white people is okay.
Really?
Yeah. I'm obviously being facetious.
Oh, okay. I believe that it's okay to be sexist towards men just because, like, most, if not all men are horrible, and that's a fact.
But that's like saying it's okay to be racist against black people
Is it,
because
though?
some of them are,
Is it, though?
are bad.
Yeah, but more white people are bad.
But it's the same thing. See, it's a double standard thing. It goes both
Yeah.
ways. You can't have it both ways. It's got to be one way or no way at all.
That's true.
Two can play this game.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can assert the true fact that there is a rapist living inside you that you have to beat down every day. And you can be racist.
Okay.
I think this is a really cool discussion, but I think as three white people, we should not just be discussing it among ourselves.
I think that's true.
I think we all have our own ideas, and I think they're very good ideas, but I think being on the internet, especially, that maybe we should invite someone with a more refined and lived experience.
It's a good thing Larry the giraffe is here. Hi, Larry. How are you?
Okay.
Hang on.
So we'll
Racism is bad.
yeah.
Thanks, Larry. Goodbye, Larry. I hope you have fun being a giraffe.
One thing we can all agree on, and we'll stop the whole racist thing, is that racism is bad. Correct?
Yes, racism
Yes.
is bad.
Okay.
Don't be racist.
Fuck. Sorry, I had shit all up under my balls and stuff, and it was uncomfortable. So, but yeah, bottom line, racism's bad. Fucking deal with it. We're all one fucking human race. Live with it.
Well, now, switching from racism to homophobia.
Yeah.
What the fuck is super straight?
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. Now, a lot of people are saying that if you're a straight man and you are only attracted to women, that should include women who are trans.
No.
Okay, I'm glad you say that, because the guy who started this whole super straight thing, it was some video on fucking TikTok or whatever, and I watched a clip of it, and some dude fucking bitching about it or whatever. But it made a lot of sense. So the guy was basically like, I'm a straight dude, I like women. And somebody had asked him, like, does that include, like, trans women? And he was like, no. Regular, normal, homegrown,
You can't say
from
regular
birth
or
or whatever.
normal. You can't
Yeah.
say normal women.
Well,
Well,
I can say this.
In the context of it, which context is important, biological women.
Well,
We'll say
I've
that.
heard about super straight and then super gay and super etc.
Right.
Is that TERFs have actually taken it over?
TERFs.
TERFs.
Aye.
Trans exclusive radical feminists or something like that.
Right.
Basically, they say trans women aren't real and they're just men in dresses.
Assholes.
Yeah, so TERFs have since taken over that term to exclude trans women from their circles.
About trans guys.
They just
All
think
I
they're
heard was
women.
pickle juice.
I said, what about trans guys?
They
Well, I don't know.
think that they're just women.
But the thing with the whole super straight is, the guy was like, my thing is, I'm attracted to women and not women who are trans. But like they were biologically born female or whatever. They got all
Wait, what if they're
they got all the right
trans?
plumbing,
What if they're trans but they've had like sexual reassignment surgery?
but it's not, they weren't born with the parts,
So he's not attracted to them if they once had a dick, but not anymore? That's kind of fishy to me.
No, he's if
Baby,
they
they
ever
don't-
if they
baby.
ever had a dick, then no.
Baby, they don't smell fishy if
weird.
they have penises.
That's weird though. Like just
Um,
because you once had a dick, you're not going to date somebody? That
I can
sounds-
see it. Honestly, I can see it.
I can.
As a trans person, I can see it.
Okay.
Because I fucked a guy. His name is David. I told you about him.
Yeah.
One of his friends back in Virginia Beach, he was with a femboy. And he identified as a femboy. I'm not being like sexist or anything. That's how he identifies.
What exactly is a femboy?
Femboy is a guy who cross-dresses like constantly, wears makeup and stuff. It's
Okay.
different than a transvestite, and it's different than other things. Femboy is basically the cuter version. That's how I interpret it. But I know I'm probably wrong. But the guy that was dating him said ass is ass. And there's that mentality of it. You can still be straight and fuck dudes, I guess.
No, not really.
Yeah. If they're...
I mean, if I fucked a dude, I wouldn't be like, "Oh man, I'm fucking super straight." I'd be like, "No, I fucked a dude. Pretty sure that at least makes me bi."
I can see
get-
how you can fuck someone of the same gender and not be straight.
Yeah, you're experimenting.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then
like,
that
if you're
that
in
makes you
prison-
experimental. Then
No, if
No.
you know you don't like it after. Like, I fucked a guy, I know I don't like anal.
now,
I'm not experimenting with that shit anymore. I didn't like it.
It could be that you were at a certain time and then you went back.
No, if
You
you,
can
if you
change.
fuck somebody, it's not necessarily that you're attracted to them. That's different. Being
I would
attracted to
say-
someone is different from fucking them.
I know what you're saying. Like how I would hate fuck Anthony Kiedis.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd enjoy that, but not like sexually. I mean, I would, but not because like I want to fuck a dude. It'd be because I just fucking hate Anthony Kiedis and I want to like rip his fucking insides out with my dick. Really fuck his shit up, make it hard for him to walk and like digest food for like a while.
Or like if you're
Things
in
like
prison,
that.
if you're in prison and there's no one else around to fuck, you can focus on the sexual sensation that you're feeling,
Yeah.
not the person.
That's
I
true.
mean-
Close your eyes, essentially.
Gender and sexuality are fluid. That's how I've been seeing it for a while.
Right.
You can be one thing one day and be another thing another day. You're not set one thing right away.
Right.
You
right.
can start straight and then be gay and then be bi and then be pan and then go back to gay.
But let's say there's this beautiful woman.
Mhm.
You meet her,
Mhm.
you fall in love with her. She's beautiful, she's smart, she's talented.
Mhm.
You're attracted to her. And then she says, "Hey, I've since had sexual reassignment surgery, but I used to have a penis."
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're not attracted to her anymore. That's a little transphobic to me. That's a little there's something with you that you can't.
I think you're not wrong, but I also don't think you're fully right. In all honesty. And I see your point, but I also see the point of other people. You can't really help what you're attracted to. It's like how some people
You
have a
c-
certain type.
You can't. But my whole thing is like, why is it such a big fucking deal?
Oh, it's
why?
not a big deal. I think it's super straight stupid.
No, I'm talking about everything, like the whole, all the different genders and different sexualities. Who fucking cares?
It's
Like,
because people make it
the
a big
only
deal.
person that it should matter to is the person who fucking lives that life.
I don't think it's wrong
Like, nobody-
or right. I don't think it's kind of like a gray area, like how some people are only attracted to certain races. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's not wrong because you have your preferences. It's not
Right.
right because obviously there's some weird connotation you have.
Well, I
with
mean,
races.
you could be
And that's
only...
Kinda
that's the
gray.
thing, though. Everybody has their own preference.
What if
So
it was-
Why?
That means like
Why
there's
hate on
some-
somebody for their
What if
preference?
you're only
you know?
attracted to someone who has like French tips? Is that
And I find out that you used to have fucking short nails. Yeah, I'm dumping you right away.
well? Like, what if that's your thing? Or what if you're only attracted to like? What if you have a foot fetish and your foot fetish is so specifically only 8.5s?
Okay, so that's my fetish. If I find
Yeah.
out you used to have different feet, I'm not gonna care because right now you have 8.5.
Exactly.
I
So
see that.
someone else being like, "Oh, you used to be a fucking baby. You used to have fucking little baby feet. Fuck you."
Yeah, you weren't born with those big giant feet. Fuck that. I'm out.
I'm surprised I'm taking the side that other people that are more on the side I disagree with would end up taking.
But see, that's the thing. There shouldn't even be a fucking side.
Mm-hmm.
Like it shouldn't fucking matter. Like nothing fucking matters. Like my sexual preference should not matter to you unless we are fucking.
Yeah.
And we are
You know one thing?
combining our
That-
sexual fucking preferences.
That person you mentioned, like in your hypothetical, that like is super attracted to this girl, and then it turns out the girl had SRS.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Sucks for that dude. He's not getting laid that night.
Yeah, but
Sucks
it
for
also
him.
sucks
Yeah.
for that girl. Like, she has to deal with that from a million fucking dudes for what
That's true.
reason? And it's probably transphobia.
That's true. I mean, I'm not saying it's not transphobia because I bet it is. Like 9
It's
times
like-
out of 10, I bet it is.
Like, my friends get on apps and they're like, "Oh, no black chicks," or "Oh, no Latina chicks," or they're always for Latina chicks. But they're like, "Oh, you're a certain race. I'm not attracted to that." And it's like, okay, one guy is one thing, but when it becomes a pattern over time, especially when you combine it with our history of racism and sexism and transphobia, it's
We're in
like
Kentucky.
a pattern.
but now see,
Like-
let me throw this at you here, Stevie.
Okay,
I'm not a racist person.
you say.
I mean, I don't think I am. That's like the number one thing that racist fucking people say is I'm not racist. But I'm not. My brother-in-law's black. You guys know Darren.
Right. But we grew
Who's
up in a
Darren?
racist society. So
Right, true.
It makes it hard to not be racist when your society is racist. We're all participating in racism every day.
Sometimes there are people
It's pretty
too-
easy to not be racist. You just
Right. But we
Don't
all
be
participate in
racist.
racist
In all
society.
honesty, I can see how some people might not know what racism is. Like someone who grows up in a really small town with only white people and they're always told this from their parents and everyone around them about like black people.
right.
I can see how if you grow up in that environment and you don't know anything different, then it can happen. And it's hard to counteract what you've learned all your life, but I'm not
Right.
saying it's impossible. I grew up in a racist community, but I'm never going back to my job.
Don't say you're not. Don't say you're not racist because that's racist.
Yeah, well, I'm never going to go back to my job because I
Well,
bet that manager's never going to get fired. I bet that
let's-
coworker's never going to get fired.
Let's
Probably
shift
not.
this to something we have more relation to. Let's shift it to
Trans stuff?
like gender stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
let's shift
Okay.
it-
Someone
let's
tried to
shift
stab
our
me in a
metaphors.
bathroom because I'm trans.
Right.
That
We're
happened.
all a little sexist. I'm sexist against women, even though I don't mean to be. Like,
Right.
it's just because I grew up in this society. Whenever I see a woman on the street and I automatically think she's beautiful, that's a little iffy because I don't see men and automatically judge them for their beauty or their worth like
But
that.
you know what?
Right.
You know what I do when I go down the street, and if I see a guy, like when I'm walking home some days, if I see a guy that's following me like 10 feet back, my hand is on my pepper spray.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna take it away and.
And that's not sexist against men necessarily.
It's I don't want to get fucking kidnapped, and I watch so much true crime that that's something I'm scared of.
Right. And
Exactly.
our society doesn't say, like, hey,
Yeah.
men shouldn't kidnap. It's always women. You need to do this to be safe.
Yeah,
You need to do
and
this
it's
to
a
be
scary
safe.
thing.
Right.
I can also tell you, like, I am sexist against men.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that if I wasn't. I'm more likely that if I'm hitchhiking home, I'm more likely to get into a car with a girl than I am a guy.
Right.
But also, I have gotten in a car with guys before, and I've gotten a ride home. And all of them have lived in the same apartment complex we live in. Weirdly enough, and I don't know why.
I don't think you should tell them which apartment complex we live in, babe.
Baby, they're driving me home.
I don't think you should drive someone from strangers.
Yeah, I know you don't like hitchhiking. I haven't hitchhiked in a while, but I also haven't walked home in a while, so that's no problem.
Right. You shouldn't hitchhike. If you're tall, you're blonde, you're beautiful. You don't need to be hitchhiking. home.
But there's the thing, and I am sexist against men.
Right.
There's also a part of me that's scared against trans men because that's the people that have abused me. All of them are trans men.
Right.
Link was a trans guy. Ari was like a trans guy, sometimes NB, sometimes a trans guy.
Mhm.
And I have an irrational fear, and I can admit it's an irrational fear of trans men.
Right.
Because that's who raped me, that's who tortured me.
Right.
I can admit I have that fear. I can admit I'm a little bit sexist towards men, probably a lot sexist towards men in all honesty.
Right. And your sexism towards men is more of
Is
a
it-
societal thing.
Is it more
I wouldn't
that you're
nec-
sexist against men, or you're just afraid of certain men?
It's both, I would say. I will say I do overgeneralize a lot
Right.
against men, but I also am afraid. I don't want someone to kidnap me or rape me. It's not
But-
a fun thing to have happen to you.
But you don't want that to happen from anybody.
I don't want that to happen from anybody. That's
Yeah.
true. I am more scared of a man doing it to me than I am a woman, in all honesty.
Right.
If someone's like being a creep,
I honestly, I think I would rather be raped by a man than a woman.
why?
And I'll tell you why. Because women are fucking ruthless. They will fuck some shit up.
There's a
You know.
book called
I mean,
Disclosure.
a man will just, get what he wants, and then,
and they might kill you for it.
Yeah, you might die. But I mean, honestly, would you rather just straight up die or be put through like some heinous fucking torture for hours on end,
There's a
over
book.
and over and over and over again, and then have to
Guy's done that
and then
too.
have to live with that for the rest of your life?
That's what rape is. Yeah.
That is what
Yeah.
rape is, no matter what. That's what rape is.
That's
But
what I'm saying.
There's
Now.
a book called Disclosure by Michael Crichton.
Right.
And it's straight up about a guy. A girl gets promoted to be his boss, and then she rapes him. And
Right.
that's the book. That's what it's about. And nobody believes him.
Didn't they make a movie out of that?
They may have.
Yeah, starring Michael Douglas. I want to say.
But
Yeah, but
and that
wasn't
happened to
that, like, a
other
false-
people too. Like it happens.
know.
Women do
They
rape
kind
men.
of made that movie a little bit weird.
I've never
I
seen
don't
the
know.
movie. I only read the book.
I don't know
It's
if
a good book.
I've
I like the
ever
book.
actually seen the movie, but I can remember like the cover of the movie or
Well,
whatever.
it's like a '90s movie, so
yeah.
of course it was a little bit weird.
Probably,
But
yeah.
that's the thing. It does happen. Women do rape men sometimes.
Yeah.
I honestly see when I see stuff in the news about a woman raping a man, I see more things of women raping a boy, like a child, than I do of a woman raping of like a fully grown man. I don't know
Yeah.
why that's what I see more, but that's what I see more. But when a guy gets raped too, there's a different response from different people, and I think that's another thing that matters.
Right.
Guys would say, because this is a story I actually read online, guys will tell the guy who was raped, "Oh, dude, you're so fucking lucky you got some. That chick's hot. You should be fucking happy." And then only girls and like feminists are the ones that are comforting the kid or
Right.
like the guy who was raped. And I think it's interesting how a girl gets raped and then a guy says she was asking for it. A guy gets raped and then a guy says, "Oh man, he's so lucky he had
Well,
sex."
see, that's the thing. I don't buy the whole, like every time you see like some teacher who, takes advantage of some young boy, a female teacher and a young boy. I have never once read a story where the boy was like, yeah, I really did not want that to happen at all.
Oh, dude,
You
yeah.
know.
They're almost. Sometimes you're getting groomed though, and then it's not really the kid's fault because that's what happens. Some guys groom girls.
See, okay, I can see, the guys grooming girls, but as far as like, as from my perspective as being a male, if any of my teachers throughout high school had just, showed a little bit of interest, and I picked up on it and was like, man, I think this teacher wants to fuck me, it would not have been rape at any point. I would have sat back and been like, okay, she's trying to groom me. She's like, buffering my grades, and she brought me a donut and some cookies and shit. Yeah, I'm all for it. Like you don't have to do that. Like let's fucking do it. You know?
I think that's a very interesting point.
Right.
I do think there's different types and levels and like experiences when it comes to that kind of stuff.
It is
Right.
still rape
but
too.
at
It's
the end
statutory.
of the day, it's still statutory rape and it's still fucked
Still
up.
still statutory rape, yes, but
Right. So I think it'd be a different kind of support group dynamic for
Prob-
certain people. I'm sure there's
Probably, yeah.
been boys out there who've had that kind of
I bet
grooming.
some of them probably
Right.
have regretted it later, or like maybe that experience wasn't that good for them.
I don't know.
Maybe they get trauma from it. No, all
I mean,
guys
I could
enjoy it.
see it being like traumatizing and like, they were too young,
he's
hadn't
gay.
hadn't experienced anything sexually up until that point, didn't know what was going on. I can see it being kind of traumatic in that sense. But like, I think any boy with like the raging hormones, and then you got the hot teacher coming on, like, yeah, what's going on? I don't see that as being all that traumatic.
I think it levels or varies.
I mean,
for
yeah,
different
I mean,
people.
it could vary, but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see it being.
Regardless,
know.
it should still be punished. I think is what we're all saying.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's definitely illegal.
Kind of
but-
backtracking a bit.
Right.
When it comes to like perceiving different people, I don't want to say it's okay, but I think it's more understandable for women to be sexist against men and for black people to be like racist against white people, that kind of stuff. I think
Right.
it's more understandable, and sometimes like
Justifiable?
justified.
Yeah.
As opposed to like your fear against like trans men. I don't think that's not necessarily as much of a societal, like that's more of a
That's a
something
personal
happened to
Personal
you.
experience
That's
thing.
something that like you could go to therapy for and like get help for. But like societally, there's nothing you can do for therapy to make men not try to fucking attack you, because that's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference there.
Very true. Very true. But as, how can I say this here? When you had said like it's justifiable, would you feel comfortable being, say, like racially discriminated against?
It wouldn't make me happy, but it would depend on the situation.
Would you just kind of take a step back
You
and be
were-
like, you know
let's
what,
say you were
it's
applying-
justifiable?
Let's say you were
Yeah.
applying to a restaurant, and it was like a Chinese restaurant, and you didn't get the job, and you end up finding out it's because you weren't Asian.
Yeah.
Would you be mad?
I would be upset, but
You wouldn't let it hold you back, right?
right, I can go get a job literally anywhere else. Like, I think it's a fine line, and I think what happens more often than not is people of color and people who are transgender or women are more likely to take you in. And then it's only certain instances that things don't go your way, and then that makes big news, and then everyone's like, oh, because if I didn't get hired because I was white and I took that to the news, they would fucking eat that up and they'd be on my side. And they
Yeah.
would.
Right.
Whereas the opposite happens, it's really not.
It's
big
because it
deal.
happens so much, it
Like what-
can't make the news.
But what kind of like what kind of business is like notoriously for just one thing, you know? Like what's something that you as like a white female couldn't walk into a job,
So I
And get-
bet.
Male modeling.
I bet you
But still-
that if I went to one of the tourist traps in Japan,
How about this?
that I wouldn't get hired probably in like Akihabara because I'm white. Like they would probably want authentic
They'd
Japanese
probably
maids.
hire you at some maid cafes.
right?
Probably like, but not in like the touristy where white people
Yeah.
go and like they probably want
there's-
authentic Japanese maids.
How
there.
about
Right.
there
But-
actually is
But that's
an
not
industry-
because you're not white. It's because that's just what they want. Like I couldn't go to Hooters and get a job being a waitress.
Right.
My dad actually
You
was
know.
a general manager at Hooters, though. You
But
can
he
get
w-
a job there.
But
he's
I
not-
would argue that Hooters
He was a bartender
is kind of
first.
sexist. Not kind. It is sexist. Hooters is sexist. Let's just
Yeah.
be honest here. It's sexist.
Well, I mean, strip clubs too. You can make that argument, but there's a lot of strippers who are like, "Yeah, I'm just fucking taking advantage of horny guys."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but it's also like
And could go either way too.
I can see it either way.
You know.
There's also
I don't think strip clubs are sexist at all.
you mentioned.
If anything, strip clubs are sexist against men because
yeah, because guys are just getting.
they're taking
know,
the
there are guy
vulnerable
strippers,
guys and
too.
taking their money. Yeah, there's guy strippers too. You know.
Like, that's the thing.
And
But
they-
there's
and-
this industry actually that you're mentioning, like, where would you not get hired? There's
Yeah.
some industries that straight up won't hire you if you're a certain thing, like modeling. Like if you want to be a model and you're trans, good fucking luck. I think that made huge news when someone who was trans became a model and actually like got hired. Because I think that was the first person ever who was trans and like out that ever got hired to be a model.
But you see, it all kind of boils down to, you know, that's like what am I trying to say here? You know, it's like, okay, I run a modeling agency. Okay,
Yeah.
I want people whom I find
Sure.
attractive working there.
But what if
Just
you-
because I don't find
What
you
if you
attractive
sincerely
doesn't
didn't
mean that you're
know?
not. It's just not my opinion.
What if you sincerely didn't even know someone was trans? They were like your favorite for it, and then
Right.
they tell you that, and then you don't do it. Like you were
because
attracted
you find
to
out
them.
she used to have a penis, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden you're
Right.
not attracted to them, so then you don't.
Or
hire
they
them.
still have a penis, and you just can't fucking tell because some people either have tiny dicks or they're really good at tucking.
I guess yeah.
another
But I
thing.
think that's also another thing: individual versus the machine. You know, like Jerry wants to run a model campaign with people he finds attractive, so maybe
Right.
he like in his area it's mostly white people, so he hires a bunch of white women, and they're
Right.
mostly skinny, and they mostly have big boobs and like perky butts and stuff like that.
They were
That's
drawn
what-
for One Piece.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
where
that's-
exactly is this area? Because I'm gonna fucking move there. You know.
Well, let's say that's just coincidentally what you
Right.
have available, what you find attractive. And then
Right.
some other guy in some other place does the same thing. Some other guy in some other place does the same thing. Some other guy hires a few women of color. but they're mostly skinny because that's what everyone finds attractive. But the machine then becomes like fat phobic or racist because when you look at all of those together, what everything's being printed out, it's only skinny women and it's only white women. And I think that's
Right.
where individual versus societal expectation comes through.
Oh yeah, like there's that singer, I can't remember her name, but she's like bigger.
Adele.
Naomi Watanabe?
I don't fucking know, dude. I can't tell you anyone. But she was like one of the ones that was like,
Talking about the chick from Precious.
I don't fucking know. I can't tell you this. All
oh.
I know is that I saw a picture of her and the Game Grumps were talking about her, and that's how I know about her.
What about the chick that was singing for CNC Music Factory back in
Don't
the
know.
day? She was like a heavier set black chick.
But it just doesn't happen that much. You don't really
Right.
see it that much because that's just not what the machine wants.
True. I'll give you that.
And again, with like the
And I-
trans model, good for her for getting to be a model, but damn, I'd be surprised if anyone else gets to be. And it's like also like Project Runway versus RuPaul's Drag Race.
Right.
One of those two is hell of more fetishized. One of those two is a hell of a lot more fetishized than the other one. Like
And
drag,
which one would you say is more
RuPaul's.
fetishized? Oh yeah.
hands down, drag queens are hella fetishized. Drag kings, never even fucking hear about them.
What the hell's a drag king?
It gets,
Opposite of
you
a
know what a
drag
drag queen is?
So it'd be like
A girl going drag as a guy. And
Oh,
it is a
okay.
thing. It's a big thing, but only if you know what that community is. But even then,
I didn't even know that was a thing.
you know
Yeah.
how drag queens, usually they end up going by she, her pronouns and everyone accepts that. Drag kings, they don't even get he, him pronouns in most cases. And it's a thing.
Do you think that's because drag queens are more socially acceptable?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably because of a lot of intricate reasons.
But also,
but mostly because
drag queens are hella sexualized too. It's a
Yeah, they're
fetish.
sexualized
It's
as a
not a
fetish.
normal thing. It's a
they're
fetish.
Nothing really is normal. Nothing.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like the
But
pushback
as
against.
far as society goes, like society shouldn't have a fucking say in anything. It should
That's true.
all be personal preference,
Well, what
period.
about-
And people should mind their own fucking business when
Did
it
you hear
comes to
about
shit.
that library that was doing like queens reading books? And it was just drag queens reading children's stories.
Oh
to
yeah,
children.
yeah.
There was so much pushback against that. I think
Right.
someone threatened to bring a gun and shoot the people
Was
there.
it one of the drag queens? Didn't she have like a really weird name?
I don't remember.
they
That
all
was
do.
yeah. But this one was I forget what it was, but it was something. It was kind of like ooh,
Candy
really?
cock tits.
You know, it wasn't something like that, but it was something where it was like a play on words. And
Queen Laquifa.
No, no. It was like it wasn't like funny, but it was like something kind of serious, but it was like a play on the seriousness. And it was kind of like ooh, I don't know,
Like a portmanteau? Or whatever the fuck.
no, like Sharon Needles. Like you guys know who Sharon Needles is?
That's
Drag
funny.
queen.
Yeah, it's a drag queen. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't want somebody whose name has like drug.
Yeah.
I just now got that. I watched her whole season on Drag Race.
You just now got that.
Yeah, I just now.
That's
But yeah, but
so
it's like I
good
wouldn't
name.
want someone whose name is like like a bad drug
Yeah, sure, I can
thing,
see
to
that.
like reading,
and
like
that's a
hanging out with
complete-
my kids,
and
something like that. But
you
it
don't
was a
want
name.
them-
It was a name something like
yeah,
that.
and you don't want that queen hanging out with kids for a reason different than the fact that they're a drag queen, which is
Right.
more commendable. I also there's a hell of a lot of problems in the LGBT community. You can look up stories about this. I've heard a lot of these stories coming out of New Orleans because that's where some of my friends were.
Would you say there's a lot of drama in this?
There's a lot of drugs.
Would you-
Sometimes there's drama.
Would you say there's drama like just within the community itself?
Oh,
Like-
dude, I could tell
like
you
other-
so many stories about how it's all sectionalized. I was in a fucking gay club in college, and it was just lesbians running the thing. And if you were anything else, you were allowed to be there, but you were never really talked to that much.
Right.
Like there's a hierarchy.
You
And let's say
weren't
in
talked
my-
to much by who? The people running it?
No, not
or
by the
just
people
the other
running
people
it,
that
or
were
just
there?
like you could tell that it was more if you wanted to like do things in leadership in the club, you had to be like a cis lesbian.
Right.
Like you could sort of tell. But in the LGBT community as a whole, you can actually see there's a lot of phobias going around. Like there's biphobia. That's a big thing where gay people don't like dating bi people and straight people don't like dating bi people either. And I don't really know the reasoning behind it. Do you know why?
Because they don't want someone who's like tainted by the other side. Gay people think they're just straight, and straight people think they're just gay.
Yeah. And there's that.
Yeah.
Or
And
they're
that's the thing.
fetishized.
Oh, and so I think a lot of bi people end up having it really rough. There's also in the trans community, dude, if you're a black trans woman, good fucking luck, because it sucks. Like, there's discrimination from the black community. There's discrimination from, like, the cis community. There's discrimination in the trans community. Just because you're
Right.
trans doesn't mean you're not racist. If you look in just my, like, what I am as a trans person, if you look at just my community, if you are post-op, white, and, like, out, then you're at the top of the trans community if you're post-op and white. And then, like, if you're pre-op and on hormones, that's below that. And still white, I would say.
Well, you still have the other tiers too. Like you have to be beautiful to be.
Yeah, you also have to be
top.
pretty. You can't be like the it's ma'am person.
It's ma'am.
That fucking dude. That's such a funny story. I watched that and I just lost my shit. And it's like, I get that that's a trans person and they were going through some shit, but you don't fucking flip over a display and shit like that. You be civil. But in the trans community, let's take race out of it completely. You're either post-op, which is at the top, and pretty. That's another thing too that really matters. You have to be pretty. If you're not pretty, you're not in it. And then there's pre-op, but on hormones. That's where I am. And then there's pre-op, not on hormones. There's non-op on hormones, which is below that's below that. And then at the very bottom is the non-op, non-hormones trans people. And some people can't come out. There's a thing, like, say you're 60 at this point, you have a wife, you have kids, you can't come out.
So you're saying even
It could
in
destroy
the
it.
trans community,
There's transphobia.
there's transphobia.
In the trans community, I was
Right.
in it. People discriminated. I read this huge fucking long paragraph that actually made me fucking break down and cry when I was reading it, because it said that unless you have the surgery, you can't call yourself trans. And that's something that I read from a trans person.
And then the whole thing with experiencing gender dysphoria too. So like within the LGBT community, there's issues with like racism and transphobia.
There's
and
a lot of drug
sexism.
abuse too.
Yeah.
There's a lot
And
of
I
drug
think
abuse.
a lot of it.
There's a lot of drug abuse in just everyday life. Period.
I think if you're in the LGBT community, you're like 25, somewhere between 25 and 70% more likely to like use drugs in your life than just like someone who's not in the community.
You're also
like,
more likely
it's-
to kill yourself.
Why do you think
You're-
that is?
Because you're fucking discriminated against and you end up falling in with those kind of
Or,
crowds.
like 10% are homeless. Or get
Yeah, like
kicked
10%
out,
are
so of
homeless.
course
You're
gonna turn to
way more
drugs.
likely to kill yourself. You're more likely to do drugs. You're more likely to be involved in like crimes. Like so many things just for being LGBT. For being trans, it goes up a lot for like drug use and suicide rates. If you're
Right.
a trans person of color, it's so much fucking higher. When I was really depressed in college and I was actually like thinking about killing myself, like I've been hospitalized for that.
Right.
Then the thing that really pushed me over the edge is the fact that I was in gay club and they were showing a presentation about specifically suicide rates and shit like that. And it was like, I'm just going to be another number. And it just fucking broke me. But like, that's a thing. You're more likely to be depressed, have anxiety, kill yourself, do drugs. There's so much just for how you are.
And I think backtracking a little bit, I think some of it is intentional in the LGBT community and outside of it. LGBT community members should not be the enemy of other LGBT community members. I think that's an agenda pushed by more conservative people to take aim away from what they actually do, which is much more harmful. But some of it's purposeful, like racism in the community is more, there's like, some of it's like, we're better than you, blah, blah, blah. And then some of it's more of a societal, they don't think about it thing, like finding more people attractive than other people if they're white, as opposed, like as a non-binary person, the hierarchy is if you are completely androgynous, white, and stick thin, that's where your hierarchy is. Whereas someone who's a person of color and very curvy or doesn't look androgynous, they're at the very bottom.
Right.
You know, and I don't think that's on purpose. I don't think anyone ever does that to be like, oh, this is my standard, so blah, 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 you're less than. It's more just like, we've been taught that this is beautiful, or we've been taught that this is what androgyny and gender neutral means.
If
And it's
you-
not.
Would we all? I hate to cut you off. Would we all agree that the media plays a huge role in all this?
Yeah,
and
for
the
sure.
media is fucking terrible.
I
Yeah.
mean, there was a cartoon that came out, I think like last year, and it was huge and made big waves because they had a non-binary character in it. And that was why it made waves. Nothing else. It wasn't that good of a cartoon. But it was just the fact that they had a non-binary character, and one of the episodes was that character experiencing gender dysphoria, made the show make waves. So many people critiqued it. So many people were like, no one should let their kids watch this show because of that. And it's like, fuck off.
Yeah, and let's not pretend. I noticed a trend fucking within the community and outside of it that when shows actually have representation, they're criticized more harshly than
Yeah.
if they didn't.
And
Like,
it's a
everyone
kid
fucking-
show.
Everyone loves Friends. No one criticizes how Friends is racist and sexist and doesn't have
Transphobic as fuck.
Yeah, doesn't have trans people in it or anything, and they like
they made
fucking
fun of
hate
people
It.
for cross-dressing in Friends.
Yeah, they didn't have a single black character. I think there was one, or I'm thinking of How I Met Your Mother. I don't know. There was like one person.
There's that. There's the hierarchy in the trans community, or not in the trans, in the LGBT community as a whole. I think it's lipstick lesbians. I think are at the top. Like you have to be femme, and you have to be a lesbian, and you're at the top. Gay men are fetishized. Any lesbian who's masked at all is below other lesbians just for being masculine.
Yeah, and I think that's also because like lesbians who are femme lesbians are the ones who are like pretty and in the
Yeah, they're the ones that
pornos.
are at the top. And that's the thing. There's a hierarchy in every community.
Would you
But-
really consider like the lesbians in like the pornos to be like lesbians, or would they be more like bi?
Dude, if you're getting fucking paid to fuck someone,
Yeah.
are you really that sexuality? You'd maybe be doing it
Yeah.
for the money.
Like if anything, like the money turns me on.
you might have you might have one of those super straight guys getting fucked by a dude because
Yeah.
if you get offered $500,000,
They do that,
million bucks, fucking do it.
Yeah, they do the gay for pay thing. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing. They take straight dudes and say, hey, look, what's it going to take to
Let this
let
guy
this dude
fuck your ass.
ass? Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I bet
And
most straight guys
Does
would
that
do
make
that
him
for a
gay?
price.
No, but he's
They
getting
wanna
fucking
make a
paid.
buck.
Yeah, you know, it's like the old T-shirt. You know, I'm not gay, but $20 is $20. You know,
It's a thing. And
Yeah.
like in the media, like what we were saying earlier, like if there's a non-binary character in it and then the non-binary community slamming the show, if it's a fucking kid show, do you really want your kids
Right.
learning about the
That's-
hierarchy in the trans
That's
community?
what I'm
Yeah.
saying mostly. Like, Friends is beloved so much still, even though it
Right.
fucking sucks. I've seen every episode. It fucking sucks. And it's sold, like, Box Lunch has their shit, Hot Topic has their shit,
Yeah.
Forever 21 has their shit, whatever. Meanwhile, something that actually is really good for, like, progressing the narrative and, like, trans rights and gay rights and stuff, like Steven Universe, has non-binary characters and stuff in it, too, which is great. But trans people and like gay people in the community criticize that so harshly because it's not perfect or however they want to see it.
How can
And
you do
then-
something perfect in a kid's show? Is it better to expose the kid to the idea or have it your perfect definition of how it should be represented? I think it's good that Steven Universe is out there. I think it's good that that other show is out there. It may not be perfect. Like, who the fuck can explain gender dysphoria? And how long are the Steven Universe episodes? 8 minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Who can explain gender dysphoria in 10 fucking minutes? And it's not going to be only about that. You're going to have maybe a minute to talk about it. You can't fucking do it.
Right. And then it's just criticized so harshly, which is totally unfair. It's unfair coming from both sides. Like, straight people are going to hate it because it's gay and blah, blah, blah. And then people on the other side are going to be like, well, it's not perfect, or, oh, they did some problematic thing. And I hate fucking talks.
I'm happy that
Toxic
kids got to
problematic
see
culture.
it.
now see, I gotta stop you there, man. I don't think you had said straight people are going to hate it because it's gay.
No, I'm not saying all straight people. I'm
See,
saying,
that's what I'm saying though.
like-
Every point can be made. Like it's not all.
Right. And whenever
Have
I say
you-
something like that, take it with a grain of salt. Like the same
Right.
way I would say Christian people hate it. Like,
Have
not
you
all
seen?
Christians.
Yeah.
Have you seen Steven
But-
Universe? Did you let your kids watch it?
I think they
Or
watch
did
it,
you
but
watch
I
it
don't
with
know.
them?
I mean, I don't really watch a whole lot of
It's
cartoons.
an
so-
interesting show to watch from like an older.
Is that the one
person's
where it's
perspective.
got like the? No, I'm thinking Craig of the Creek, maybe.
the kid
the
who has like
creak
the
of the
ruby in
something,
his
I don't know.
stomach, like in his belly button. There's the girl with the afro who has like the fisticuffs. There's the girl with the
I know
spears,
the
just
show,
like a
but
ballerina.
I couldn't tell you anything about it.
But it's interesting watching that from an older person's perspective. They cover like abusive relationships and that too, don't they?
Yeah.
They
very-
cover
a lot of-
so much.
a lot of kids' cartoons, you know.
Yeah.
Pepe Le Pew, you know, he just got fucking canceled
I
and
didn't
taken
even
out of
hear
fucking.
about that. What the fuck happened to him?
Do you know Pepe Le Pew, right?
Yeah, the skunk guy from Looney Tunes.
the rapist skunk. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a fucking rapist. But
yeah,
I mean,
he's a fucking rapist. You know.
yeah, he got canceled.
Yeah, like
Oh,
they took him
neat.
out of fucking Space Jam and all kinds of shit. Yeah,
Good. Fucking
and
hate
and
that
it's
guy.
like
You do?
Yeah.
you don't like
fuck that
Pepe
guy.
Le Pew?
No.
Was
lot
it
of
was it
these
because he was a
things-
rapist?
Was
Yeah,
it because
and
he
he
was a
just
rapist?
sucked. And it
He
just
wasn't the
sucks.
funny part of Looney Tunes. You know what the funny part of Looney
Yeah.
Tunes was?
Bugs Bunny.
Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. That was my favorite one.
Bugs Bunny.
And Daffy
Bugs Bunny was
Duck.
funny.
Daffy
Yeah.
Duck.
The duck season, rabbit season sketch is one of
Yeah.
my favorite fucking things.
Elmer Fudd, that's a good one, yeah.
Oh, dude, Yosemite Sam, he was fucking funny. I love those ones too.
See, but see, it all breaks down to preference. You know, if you think something's funny, you're gonna watch it. You're gonna laugh.
If Pepe
know,
Le Pew didn't
if
get
you did-
canceled for being a rapist, he would have been canceled because it wasn't that funny.
I mean, I
Compared
don't
to the
know.
rest
I mean,
of the
I
Looney
can
Tunes
remember
stuff, he wasn't
watching
the best.
like yeah, like he wasn't like top of the list or anything. But I mean, I can remember being a kid watching him, and you know, it didn't make me want to go out and fucking try to rape somebody. You know, it was just like, this guy's fucking sucks. He can't get a girlfriend, man. You know, like he's trying fucking hard. And, you know,
Well,
did I
like-
ever actually see him fucking rape another
Is he
skunk?
a
No.
rapist, or is everyone else discriminating against him because he smells bad?
Could be.
Did you
But
ever
I
think about his
You know.
I
perspective?
think that's where, like, idealistically, I would agree that it should just be about individual preference, and that's just fine. But we live in a society,
You're exactly right.
and
Society's
we have
not.
to analyze that thing, and we have to
Yeah.
analyze our own beliefs. Like, I used to be sexist as shit against women because of the society I grew up in. It was my personal preference
Right.
that you have to be this way and that way, and I liked movies that were like this, and I liked things that were like that, until I analyzed it and I realized how harmful it is, especially with a lot of the media that we put out there for kids to like consume. Like, it
Right.
shapes you in a way that you can't fathom, and then, like, idealistically, I agree with you, but I don't think it's worth it in practice.
It is interesting
Yeah.
to try and think of what will removing this do for kids. Because if you start thinking about...
How many kids nowadays knew who fucking Pepe Le Pew was?
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
But like,
When's the last time you
if
heard about
see,
the great big Pepe Le Pew fucking cartoon
let's
coming
say-
out? You know.
Let's say you
don't.
saw Pepe Le Pew and then you became a rapist. Or is it because of that? Did that influence you? It's hard to track. And then let's say you watched Steven Universe and then that's how you found out you were gay. Is it Steven Universe turning you gay? Or is it you were that's how you are and that's how you were born? It's a hard thing to track and figure out.
But I
Yeah.
also think it's not that hard. Because if you have a whole generation of kids who watch Steven Universe, and then all of a sudden, like, the people who identify as gay skyrocket, like, you can trace that back to, like, maybe the media in that time was more accepting.
Right.
Whereas if you have Pepe Le Pew and fucking Frasier and fucking all those shows
What's
coming
Frasier?
on, it's a show from the 90s or whatever.
Yeah. Never watched it myself.
If you grew up in the time that we grew up and you have more feelings like higher rates of eating disorders or of sexism against women, you can trace that back to the media that we consumed.
How about you go slightly extra positive too? And here's a trend that I don't like personally. Let's say someone wants to be more. Is there a trans person in Steven Universe?
I think the closest we get is.
Is there? Tell me a trans
they,
person
them.
in media
Maybe there are,
somewhere.
and you just
But
don't
let's-
know it.
Let's
Yeah.
say there's let's say there's a trans person in some cartoon that comes out, right?
Mhm.
And some kid really likes that cartoon. Like it's a guy to girl trans person, and that kid really likes that cartoon. It's a little boy,
Mhm.
and then he wants to be like that person, so he starts wearing dresses and shit.
Mhm.
And then the parents like ask him if he's trans, and he just keeps saying that he wants to be more like that person, right? Or let's say let's say he says yes. Kid's like 6, let's say that, or like 8.
But see, if
Should
you
the kid be on hormones? Hell no.
if you throw,
I disagree.
I think if you throw a label on it, like that's you shouldn't label it anything.
Yeah.
Just there
I think that
there shouldn't be gay or straight or trans or anything. It should just be, oh, well, that's just what they're into. That's their thing.
If it
you know?
happens one day that happens, I think that'd be a good thing. But I also think people like being
Idealistically,
yeah.
I think that to an extent people like having labels.
Yeah, I think labels exist for
Like-
the people to self-identify
It-
and find
like-
a community under.
When
But-
you get diagnosed
Yeah.
with depression or anxiety, it helps you to be labeled in a way because it knows you're not alone.
Right.
There wouldn't
Like,
be a
sometimes
label
there's
for it if
negative
you were the
labels.
only one.
There's negative labels, and then there's labels that, like, 20 years ago, being labeled as like having a mental disorder would have been so
Oh
different. than
yeah,
now.
like in
Yeah.
I was watching the Penhurst Asylum thing today. Like the fucking people that just because they were retarded basically got shipped to prison in the 20s, in the 40s, and in the 60s
See,
in America.
Let me stop you right there, man. A lot of people don't like that R word either.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some people do not fucking like that.
Yeah.
But see, and it's just another fucking label, man. You know,
That's the thing, though. Like people need, to an extent, need
like
labels.
why do they have to be retarded? Why can't
Why can't they be
that's
mentally
just,
disabled?
not
Why
even
can't
that.
They be
Like
something
that's
else?
just the way they are.
Yeah.
You know,
I can see it.
Live with it.
But
You know,
I don't know. It all brings you to an idea of where's too far, where's not far enough.
I think
Right.
one of the defining factors is labels that people put on you versus the labels that you give yourself. I think
That's a
Well,
very
I
good
can-
point. Yeah.
There can be some labels that you give yourself that it's one thing if you give it yourself, but it's another thing if people put it on you. I call myself a trap.
Mhm.
But if someone else called me a trap, I might take offense.
The fuck
Right.
is a trap?
It means trans, basically. It's
Oh, okay.
like
for my type of trans. For you, it's like if you date me and then you find out I have a penis, then I'm a trap.
it's a trap.
Yeah.
Like a
Got you.
I
really
think it's
cute
a
looking
fucking-
girl, but
that-
she has a penis.
That's what
I think it's a funny.
When as soon as you
fucking
said
thing
trap,
to
that was the
call
first thing that
myself.
popped in my head. Was like, it's a trap.
Yeah, I
that-
think
that
it's a
makes sense,
funny
okay.
thing to call myself, and so I call that's my name online when I'm playing video games. That's my name on the PlayStation Network, and that's my
Right.
name on my Discord is Edie the Trap or Eden the Trap.
Right.
And that's just because I think it's funny.
yeah, and it's
I like
also,
that.
Yeah.
Like I call myself a bitch and like, you know, all that stuff. But like, if some random person on the street called me that, I'd be like, "What the fuck is your problem?" Unless it
Yeah.
was a woman. If it was a woman, I'd be more okay with it. I'd be like, "Hey, what's up, bitch?
Hey, bitch, you
Yeah.
looking fine.
Girl, you too." But like when it's the
it's
the majority doing it to you in a negative way.
Yeah,
I
it
think
depends.
that's-
all about the
Context.
context. Exactly. That's like I know like in the gay community and stuff, like amongst my gay friends and stuff, they call each other bitch all the time. Like they don't
Yeah.
even call each other by their names. It's just bitch.
Hey, bitch.
Yeah, like that's like a greeting. But
Yeah,
then
and
you
it's the same
take
thing.
somebody outside that circle, you know, and
Well,
have
that's
them
another
call
thing
them a
too.
bitch,
That
you know.
there's this idea that friends can set their own standards among their group of friends, and let's say someone doesn't like the word trap and they find it transphobic. Let's say another group of friends likes that word. Sometimes there's a perspective of where is too far for that group. And groups can sort of establish that they aren't racist, they aren't sexist, but they can still find something funny. And that's something that I kind of believe in, is that friend groups can sort of set their own standards. Like, I think Brandon Rogers is funny as fuck.
It's not that friends
you
group
disagree with me
can set their own
hardcore.
standards. It's friend groups do set their own
Yeah,
standards.
and that's the thing.
You know?
You might not be racist, but I mean, or you might not be anti-Semitic, but there could be a Jew in your group that's literally making fucking jokes about him being Jewish. You know,
like
And that could just
Little
be
Dicky, the
thing.
rapper. Yeah, have you guys ever heard of Little Dicky?
No.
Yeah,
My mom showed me Little Dicky.
yeah. Little Dicky's fucking great, and he talks
Yeah.
about being a Jew and calls himself fucking kike and
I bet
you know, Jew
that
boy and all kinds of shit.
I bet that fucking
you know,
Bo
the whole-
Burnham
the whole
thing.
thing.
I bet that Bo Burnham thing I like, where he says, "I'm gonna turn this card black," and then he becomes a black guy. I bet so many people would take offense to that.
No, it's not like
Really?
if he had done blackface, yeah.
Oh yeah, if he did blackface,
But
that's
no,
different.
people
But I mean,
don't-
I bet that some groups can find that offensive.
it's really hard to see the offense in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I can see how people would find it offensive.
How?
Just because they can say it's racist.
How?
Because he's saying card. You don't see it because you're not there. You're not the type that would find it racist.
What's
But I
racist
bet
about
there's
saying
people
card?
that can find it.
Is that
Like the fact that he's a white guy and then he turns himself black. I bet people can find that racist. I bet that there isn't. It's not a stretch to say
But how-
someone can find that racist.
But what's that have to do with a card?
Because he was holding a playing card. He was holding like a red playing card and then he turned himself black. And that was the joke.
Like he was trying.
I think that there are
the-
better examples. than
Okay,
that
then give
one.
me a better
Yeah, I don't-
example. That was just the first one I could think
was
of.
gonna
that
say,
I'm sure
most
there's
people
lots
would
of
agree
things
with.
that some people would like. The word queer. People.
Oh yeah,
in
some
the
people
queer
hate the
community-
word queer.
Some people don't want to identify as queer, and that's like their personal preference. But as a group, like most people have accepted that queer is an okay word. They've reclaimed it
Yeah,
to self-identify.
there's a lot
Right.
out there, basically. But people
It
can find
all
something.
boils down to personal preference
Yeah.
and context.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
In a perfect world,
The perfect world doesn't fucking
in
matter.
my perfect world, There would be no labels on shit.
Everyone would have a
that
free jar of pickles mailed to their door. Whatever
the
type
pickle
they
of the month
want.
club.
There is a pickle of the month club. I want to join
there
that.
probably
and I
is,
bet
yeah.
Stevie doesn't want me to join it.
We don't have money.
See, Stevie doesn't want me to join it for no good reason.
But in my perfect world, everybody would just fucking get along. Everybody would mind their own fucking business and just let everybody live their life however the fuck they wanted to. You would associate with who you wanted to associate with because that's your preference. You wouldn't associate with certain people because that's just your
Well,
fucking
I think that
preference,
you need to associate with me because I want to associate with you.
I do associate
Ha.
with you.
Actually, you existing over there,
That's
my kids can
offensive.
see you existing.
I know.
How
He's
associating with
Oh
me
my
against
God!
their
Did I
will.
tell you
I
why I
know.
got kicked out?
kicked out
My when I was still in Virginia when I was living with my dad and his girlfriend. Did I tell you that? His
about how
girlfriend
his
had
girlfriend
me. Yeah, I got kicked
yeah.
out because she didn't want her kids getting ideas.
Right.
Because when I came out as trans,
Right.
it's like the kids were like 2 or 3 at the time.
yeah.
Like, they're not gonna fucking remember. First off, second off, fuck you.
But it's like I don't know. I don't get why there's so much hate in the world when everybody would be so much happier if we just
If
all
they
minded
just
our own.
fucked.
Well,
Some people are
maybe.
asexual,
Yeah.
Eden.
And I don't have place for them in my world.
but it's like if people just minded their own fucking business and just worried about themselves and stopped trying to push all their shit on everybody else.
You
and
pushing.
just worked on making themselves happy. I think it'd be a lot better world.
You pushing your asexuality onto me really confines my demisexuality. Bitch.
Don't call me that. I'm not a bitch. I'm a slut.
You can't be a slut if you're ace.
Watch me.
Try
She can be a
it.
slut toward herself.
Do it. Be a slut. Go.
She's a slut for steak hoagies.
Do that. Do that face.
This is true.
Do that voice that you're doing in the car.
The Valley Girl?
Yeah.
Why?
Do it. Prove
Why?
you're a slut. Only a real slut could do it.
No, that's not true.
See,
That's just
proof.
annoying.
Stevie can't be a slut. Proof.
すみません.
Is that
Fuck
like,
me right here.
Is that like Valley Girl Japanese?
Japanese.
Oh.
It's like overly cutesy annoying.
Dude, it's not annoying if you're
gotcha.
into it.
But once again, that's preference.
Yeah.
Are you into that kind of thing?
Dude.
If Stevie
I
talked
make
like that
so many
all
jokes about
day,
it with
you'd just
Stevie.
sit around and just be all horned up.
Always.
Now,
Dude,
see,
if Stevie
now
sits around all day, I'm going to sit around being all horned up.
fair enough. But now, my personal preference, if Stevie was trying to come on to me and was using that fucking voice, I'd be like, nope. Like, that's annoying as fuck. Please stop.
ジェリーさん、あなたの
See?
歌うまいわ。大きいな。
She knows how to push my buttons now.
See? Stevie
Yeah.
just called you the hunkiest hunk alive.
Really?
I think I just said you have a big head.
Which head are you talking about here, Stevie? No.
The head we
But-
can see.
I mean, you want to see it? It's not much to look at, but I'll fucking show it to you.
Jerry admits he has a small penis. This here's 362 episodes before he finally admits he has a barely inch dick.
How does this fucking shit keep going under my balls? It's so
Your
annoying.
balls are bigger than your dick.
I'll be the first one to tell you. Like, I got a nice, healthy set of balls. I'll show them to you. I ain't scared.
Episode 363. Jerry shows dick? Question mark.
Maybe.
Exclamation
You never know.
point.
Question mark.
It's a picture of your mom's boyfriend.
We haven't called my mom. Do you want to?
No, I was actually looking at the time here.
Yeah,
We
but you
are
have 2
way
missed
over.
calls. Are you gonna see who they're from?
I guarantee I could tell you who the fuck they're from.
Really? Who are they from?
Yep. Right
Those-
there.
The second one isn't my mom. I actually don't know who the second one is.
Do you know who that one is?
No, that's the first one. I don't know who that one is. The 494 one.
That's probably Dick.
I don't know. You want to call him and see?
No, not really.
You should. You should call and see whose number that is.
No, I think
Wait,
I'm
how
all
Do
long
right.
it.
are we on time?
Wait, do it and then hang up right
It's
away.
like almost an hour and a half.
Do it and
Oh,
hang
wow.
up.
Do it and hang up.
Yeah, do it
No,
and hang up.
I'm okay. I'm
do
all
it and
right.
hang up.
Let's see.
Oh, do you want
I'll
Dick
tell you
to
if
send
it's
you
the
more
same number.
pictures?
Of like, do I want dick pics?
Yeah.
Is that what you're
Dick.
trying to say?
Do you want Dick to send
Let's
you
see.
pics?
Yeah, that one's Dick. That
You sure?
That number's Dick. Yeah, because there's the messages
Oh,
right there.
damn, you're so
it's the
smart.
same number. See. But yeah, so we are going to get the fuck out of here, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. I know I enjoyed having it. I thought it was good.
Oh, who died? Anyone?
Probably somebody, but
We haven't done celebrity deaths.
I don't give a fuck.
I
Yeah.
care.
0 fucks.
Zero fucks.
If I can't tell you who the fuck it is, yeah, 0 fucks right now.
What if it was fucking Obama? Then what? Do you give 0 fucks about Obama?
I mean, I don't give 0, but I mean, I'd give a couple. But it's not like
Wow.
I knew him personally.
News just in:
you know.
Jerry racist against Obama.
I did vote for Obama twice.
Did you vote for him a third time? I didn't think so.
Neither did you.
I wasn't eligible to vote.
Oh.
Truth come out.
Excuses.
Yep.
I never even got to vote for him once.
Fucking loopholes.
What if Obama was the
So
vice
you didn't even vote
president?
for him once?
I wasn't able
Fucking
to. I would have.
racist. But yeah, we are going to get the fuck out of here, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation today. I know I enjoyed having it. I think everybody here enjoyed having at least some part of the conversation.
I liked the part where I got pickles.
The
There
first
you
part
go.
was very awkward, but the gender and sexuality portion, I felt I could contribute my voice to.
There you go. And I'm glad you contributed your voice because this has probably been the episode that you've talked the most on.
Yeah, I didn't
Which is
just
really
like
good.
sit and blink for 40 minutes.
I know.
You're so good at blinking.
Which was
though.
good.
I blink a lot on this show.
Blink.
She does.
Hot. Take me.
But all right. I do want to say thank you to everybody who did tune in. I don't know. I wasn't really watching the numbers or anything. I know there was only like one person, the Dan Crusader, who
We
commented.
love you, Dan Crusader.
Yes, if you're still watching, thanks for tuning in, all that good stuff. Appreciate you tuning in every time we go live. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If you like us, tell a friend. If you hate us, tell 10 friends. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow us on all the social media, which, you know, I'm not going to lie, I don't fucking ever post shit anymore. This is like the only time that I actually do something for the show, really, is on Friday nights when we do the show. So I don't really post a whole lot of memes or funny stuff. Every now and again, I'll share something. But at least you'll know when we go live if you, you know,
Post an office
subscribe
tour.
and click the little notification icon or whatever it is there. The office tour.
Yeah, do an office tour.
I don't think we really need to do an office tour. I mean, they can pretty much see, like,
They don't see that
know.
over there.
well, who the fuck needs to see all that?
I
mean,
need to see it, and I do get
I
to
do
see
have
it.
a
and that's
oh
why you
yeah,
should
there's
share
the
it.
regular wide shot. Like that. There's your office tour.
Yeah, but you don't see that whole like shelving unit back there with the middle finger and the lifesavers and the lizard
But
and the goo.
That's like not part of the show though.
It comes up so often.
Not really.
Yeah, Dr. Emmett Brown. That comes up like every other episode.
Yeah. And Jesus on a hoverboard.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
other episode. Tell me
Right.
one person in chat who doesn't want an office tour, and then we won't do it. But if even one person doesn't
Okay,
say anything,
If
we'll do
somebody
it.
on YouTube comments right now, office tour, then next week's episode will be nothing but an office tour guided by Eden herself.
Oh my God! Yay! I can show everyone how little I know about this office. I can tell everyone the history of Mississippi mud.
Yeah. Yeah. Only a few people know the history of that.
I know it by heart.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Because you were there and you know all about it.
Yeah, I like rain.
Rain is awesome. But yep, with that being said, folks, I'm your host, Jerry Saylor.
I'm horny.
I'm also horny.
Stay sober, Toby. We're the fuck out.